Lieutenant Dixon, I watched the debate. I was at the debate in Cleveland when the late Tim Russell was conducting the debate with the candidates. And public education never came up at all that night. The commentators, candidates, it was a non-subject at Cleveland State University. So we're now in this exciting political season. From your view, what does public education fit in the national debate?
I think that public education is in the center of the national debate, or should be.
I think should. Different between should be and is.
Right.
Right.
Is it? Is it ain't?
It isn't, but it should be. I see it like when you talk about in terms of inequalities in education and in employment, I really see that as being a circle. That if we don't put equality in education, then what we're doing by focusing more on detention and expulsion, we're already starting to send black males into prison. And so then those who go, they leave behind a single-parent home.
Abel Kelly, you and your work at Dennis, just the impact of the parent-teacher connection and employment in your company.
I think at Denny's corporate office, which is headquartered in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and that's where I'm born and raised, is a little different from what I'm hearing from my panelists. I think that it's important for corporate America to get involved with education. And we have developed a program locally as well as beginning nationally, and Reverend Jackson was a pivotal part of that. What we did, we took one particular school that's about 5 miles from our Denny's corporate office, and we have about 471 kids that attend from K4 to 6th grade. 97% of these students were on free and reduced lunch programs. 91% of these children were from African American families, and a majority of them from single parent homes. And when I spoke to the principal, I didn't realize at the time what school we were going to choose, because the mayor of Spartanburg, Mayor Barnett, came to our president and CEO, Nelson Marchioli, with wanting us to help with just getting parent involvement. And when I went to the school, lo and behold, it was one of my alma maters. So of course I had a long list of things I wanted to do for the school. But the thing was just getting the parents to come and get involved. And a lot of these teenagers or parents were, some of these people were classmates of mine. They was their children. And so as Reverend Jackson was there and was going through the different 6 points and talking to the teachers and the students, a lot of the parents did not attend because either they were working or didn't have transportation, or they didn't feel like the people who were at the school, the principal may it be, or the teachers, they didn't see a reflection of them.
Well,
So
does this go to Phil Jackson's point about the need to educate the parents, not just the children? There was a fire in Chicago about 2 months ago. 11 people were in the fire and 10 were saved. The 2-year-old child was not saved because his 30-year-old grandmother, 30-year-old grandmother could not get the child out the house. And so here was a child trying to raise children and did not have the capacity herself, in fact, to engage in parenting, educational relationship.
Right.
It seems to me, Dr. Glover, we're going to take our break before our last session is that this impact of investing in parenting education, they may be the last hope we have to, in fact, engage children in a different way. I do not see anyone else whose interest is greater than a parent's ought be than the parents in the process. I think when parents are involved, they move teachers, they move politicians, they motivate children. Parents have the highest stake in the deal, and that therefore must have the most involvement and be what one might call the original mover. Be right back. Last segment. Welcome back to the 37th Annual Convention of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Particular focus this year on how to reclaim our children. We are mobilizing 1 million parents, 50 cities, to mobilize 20,000 parents, working with the PTA to, in fact, engage in a new level of relationship. Dr. Glover, the reason I am so insistent on these 6 basic, almost oversimplified points is I believe the parents are the only ones with the key to fit all doors. Parents can challenge children, they can challenge teachers, boards of directors, they can challenge the politicians. they have the master key, it seems, to the whole deal.
You're absolutely correct. I think the parents have delegated the roles and responsibilities along with the accountability.
Say that again. Back up. Say that one more time.
Parents have delegated their responsibility, their accountability, their roles. They've delegated to others. We took that proverb, it takes a village, out of context. That was the first thing parents did, was delegate their responsibility to somebody else. It takes, I disagree with that statement, or let's enhance that statement. It takes an entire kingdom to raise a child. It's more than a village. It takes everybody. It takes God's entire kingdom. Because the students, the children that we are educating now, that we're training these skills and competencies, our whole educational future, our whole economic future depends on them. And simply because a child has received a college degree does not mean that child has received a college education.
You just said something. Phil Jackson, what did she say?
She said just because they received a college degree does not mean they received a college education. And Reverend Jackson, what you're asking for on the first day of school, for parents to go up to schools, it should be a national holiday because it is a matter of national security. And in the black community, what this should be, it should be a day of absence from your jobs, from your clubs. You should be at your child's school on the first day of school. And so thank you very much for your leadership, Reverend Jackson.
Well, I'm trying to cut through educators. The more they talk to me, the more I become confused because they give me too many options. I mean, the coach says, here are the ways to score, and here are the rules, and here are the standards, and here are the sacrifices that you need to make to become a champion at the end of an 11-game season. It seems to me that there's too much play in the wheel, Garrett, for the thing that really makes it. That parents must have some basic duties that ground them with their children and teachers. That grounding.
Well, I think you put it best, and my colleagues on the panel did. Identifying ways for parents to get engaged in this day and age, whether you're working, whether you're going to school at night, you got multiple kids, it's a single-family household, really makes no difference. The question becomes now, how do school districts recognize new and cutting-edge ways to engage parents in a different variety of methods? And what I mean by that is we talk about technology in this society. The kids that are in school today, they are digital natives. Technology is not foreign to them. They've never known life without an Xbox, without a Zoom, without an iPod. And all of the parents who are raising young children today, they haven't either. We've got to figure out how do we utilize every means necessary to engage parents and thereby also engage kids. How we begin to look at how we also educate a child. I remember looking at a test when I was a school principal for a second-grade student, and it gave a picture saying which one of these is a bank. It gave the traditional bank from the 30s and 40s with the nice bars and the man behind the window with the bill, but it also gave a picture of what looked like a grocery store. My kids in inner city Phoenix pick the grocery store because their mom and daddy go to Walmart, they go to the local grocery store, they go to the bank. But on the test, the child began to score differently. And I utilize that as an illustration to say we've got to think differently about education. These are radical times which require radical measures. Mary McLeod Bethune, when she penned those words in 1954, we have a powerful potential in our youth, but we must have the courage to change old ideas and practices to direct that power toward good ends. And it requires parents and those who are educational advocates to begin directing that power in the right direction as we go forward in 2009.
You know, Congressman, as much as I strive to be modern and keep up, I have learned in life that there are some changeless values in changing times. You can't get so modern until you don't stop long enough to learn, to read, to write, to count, to think. Even the computer can't think for you, really. The calculator, somewhere in this mix of things, that I think that we're running past fundamentals. What am I missing in that? How am I?